One thing that really bothers me is that it feels like we're living in an era where pretty much anybody can be a rapper should they feel like it. At this point, it almost feels like a mood. If you just feel like picking up a mic and being a rapper, it's actually possible. We're actually living in a time where that can happen. And this can actually happen regardless of whether or not you actually have the talent to be a rapper, regardless of whether or not you actually care about the culture you're about to profit from, regardless of whether or not you actually have that thing inside you that pushes you to be a musician of any kind, even if it isn't hip hop. You can actually make it in this day because I see it all the time. I say this because we live in an era where the only thing you need to be a rapper, the only actual requirement, the only actual question you have to ask yourself is, do I have enough clout? And this type of clout can come from anywhere. It doesn't even have to be rap related, it doesn't even have to be music related, to be honest. You just have to have some type of fan base from anywhere. You can get this fan base from being a YouTuber, you can get this fan base from being an Instagram influencer, you can have this fan base from literally even just having some type of viral video that gets your name in the limelight just for long enough, period. Ever since hip hop became the most popular genre pretty much in the whole world, this isn't something that we didn't see coming, or at least I didn't see it coming. I mean, we're at a point where pretty much if you look up the Billboard Top 100, if you look at the top 10 albums there, probably there's a minimum of 3 rap albums. So it hasn't really been unheard of for people to actually take advantage of hip hop. It's been happening all the time. And this isn't even a trend that's been happening recently. It's always been happening. People and corporations always profit of whatever trending culture is happening. Because at the end of the day, money is the language that everybody speaks. Money is what makes the world go around. And anybody will care about any culture as long as they can make money off of it in some way. So the trend of people actually taking advantage of hip hop, that's not necessarily what triggers me, because that's the norm. Now what scares me is that I feel like back in the day, these types of people, these types of trendy people would make their one hit, they'd do their thing and they'd leave. They'd collect their bag and they'd leave, either from falling off or they got what they came for and they knew that they had nothing else to do, so they left. And although this was annoying, this always has been annoying to me, I never saw it as anything close to harmful. But nowadays it really feels like these types of people are having lasting careers in hip hop. And I notice this because every time this trendy person becomes a rapper, I usually don't pay mind to them because I expect them to leave anytime soon. But to my surprise, they'll sometimes actually pop up again with a new hit song and their fans actually dig the song and they actually push it to the point where it even reaches the charts. And the biggest thing that baffles me is that this song will usually get this much hype around it because it actually has a feature from a real rapper. And this bothers me because if you actually have a real rapper featured on one of your songs, it pretty much validates you as a rapper in hip hop. And if this real rapper validates your place in hip hop, then who am I to say that you shouldn't be a rapper? But on the other hand, 9 times out of 10, when a real rapper does feature on one of these people's songs, it's usually a paid feature. And if that's the case, then it doesn't validate anything because that rapper's just there to collect the check. He's just there to get his bag and dip. And if that's the case, then I actually do have a stance to argue from. But the biggest scare, the biggest thing that irritates me is the fact that if more real rappers popularize this, if more people popularize this and this becomes more and more normalized in hip hop, it'll depreciate the quality of hip hop in the near future. That's what I personally believe. And a lot of people will argue that it doesn't matter whether or not these people actually care about hip hop. At the end of the day, everything that matters is the music good. And if that's your argument, then my answer would be there's something you're overlooking. To me, something just isn't adding up. I find it hard to believe that somebody can go from making TikToks and posting random things on Instagram and showing actual no aspirations whatsoever of being a musician to what feels like overnight be able to write and compose music that's as good as that of J. Cole or Young Thug. I can't get behind that train. I can't believe that. Even if I tried, I smell something. I smell a ghostwriter. And the whole topic of a ghostwriter can pretty much be its own video, but in one sentence, I'm going to say that ghostwriters pretty much undermine the integrity of what it means to be a rapper. And that's why I'll argue that it's dangerous for these types of people to be in the limelight and to be seen as rappers forever.